Washington mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
8:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Brian Wilson and Larry O'Connor from Breitbart TV in this morning. And, I think it's a fair question to ask, was this a clean election? And so we have turned to the guy who's written sort of the authoritative account of voter fraud in this country. It's a book called Who's Counting? How Fraudsters and Bureaucrats Put Your Vote at Risk. He's also a National Review columnist talking about John Fun. He joins us now on the line. John, I guess when you have a concession speech like this and there are no open races, we probably won't delve into it too deeply. But from your perspective, was it a clean election?
Well, it was clean in the sense that I don't think fraud or irregularities made a major difference in the outcome, but there certainly were problems. And of course, clean election is in the eye of the beholder. Both campaigns used dirty tactics. But was there massive fraud? No. In fact, I think all of the conversations that we've had about fraud over the last few months were a deterrent. And I think we had a cleaner election than we otherwise would have.
All right, but what happened in Philadelphia with the Black Panthers showing up and Democratic pollsters wouldn't let the Republican poll watchers in? What was going on with that?
Well, look, I think the Black Panther was just looking for publicity, and he got it. I mean, he didn't have his billy club. He didn't intimidate anybody. But the judge, having the Pennsylvania judge forcing election officials to reinstate GOP poll watchers, that was important. I mean, these were Democratic election judges who were ejecting their Republican counterparts because they just didn't want them to be there. And they had to be ordered by the judge to not only let them back in, but they had to cover up a mural of Obama in one precinct. They had to get, take off Obama hats in another precinct. Philadelphia once again showed it's not the city of brotherly love; it's the city of election sleaze.
But I mean, just a point. So they went to the judge, and the judge said, "Okay, you got to let the Republican poll watchers in," but how long did that take? And what happened in those hours when the Republican poll watchers weren't there?
We have no idea.
That's exactly right.
What happened behind the curtain.
Yeah. A National Review columnist, John Fun's our guest. Of course, his book, Who's Counting, is all about election fraud in the American system. By the way, I hate to correct you, John, but clean elections are not in the eye of the beholder. They're in the eye of Eric Holder.
Ooh.
Thank you very much. And
he's here all week long.
To that end, did you see the story? I know that you're an admirer of some of James O'Keefe's work. And did you see the story in the Daily Caller that showed that some of the D.C. poll workers actually had a little picture of Eric Holder at the check-in spot so that they could identify the Attorney General just in case an imposter showed up?
That is the finest tribute to O'Keefe you could have imagined.
It really is.
But I have to tell you, other people captured other interesting things. In Wisconsin, they found that people were being bussed in to campaign for Obama in federal vehicles. And the problem with that is they were, coming in from Illinois, and the Milwaukee Police Department has in the past shown that many of those campaign workers ended up registering to vote and voting the same day, which is illegal because they actually were from Illinois. I think we're going to spend some time tracking that down.
Well, and John Fun, on a bigger picture, because obviously, as you said, we don't have enough specific information on last night's vote to really make a giant issue, particular to this election. But isn't it a problem that all day long during an election day and the next morning and for the next couple of days, you hear all of these stories coming in? The people of America just don't have confidence in the system that's in place right now.
Over 40% of the American people do not believe their ballots are necessarily counted accurately or fairly. And give another example. Florida, a poll watcher was denied access by the polling station manager, threatened with arrest, and commanded to leave, or else they would never be allowed to step inside a poll again. The poll watcher witnessed people whom she had recognized earlier coming in for a second round of voting and other infringements. Again, these are only allegations, but I have to tell you, we need in the future, if we're going to have close elections, and this ultimately was a close election, we're going to need more ballot protection, more ballot security, because if you don't have people believing in the integrity of the election, That's the basis of our democracy.
Yeah. And John, listen, I moving forward, I don't consider this a partisan issue necessarily. In fact, as a conservative, I kind of like the states to have their own say on how these things get done. But frankly, I'm past that now. I think that there needs to be federal rules on this so that every vote in every state is treated equally, especially for a federal election like this.
Well, in theory, you may have a point. In practice, the elections are going to be remaining with the states. That's what the Constitution says. And the Democrats in the Senate, I think, are going to put a stop to that pretty quickly.
But can't we agree that the one thing that we do need? I mean, if you can't go and buy a pack of cigarettes without showing your driver's license, can't we agree that something at least as important as casting your ballot should require some type of photo ID?
You would think so, and it's interesting. The United Nations affiliated group that came over with all these election observers, you've probably read about them.
Yep.
They came and they were stunned and shocked that we don't have photo ID because
Right.
they have it in every other country. The Canadians, those intolerant, vicious Canadians have ID.
Right, and racist. Don't forget racist.
Racist Canadian. They couldn't possibly imagine. What, you don't need no stinking ID?
Where's your bucket of purple ink, America?
Yeah, well, all right. Well, listen, we're going to leave it right there. John Fund, thank you for doing what you do. We appreciate you keeping up on that issue.
Thank you. And the book is called Who's Counting? How Fraudsters and Bureaucrats Put Your Vote at Risk.
All right.
Ooh,
Greatly appreciate it.
Well done, John Fun.
Yeah,
with that
slip
final.
that little
Did you
thing
see
in there.
that? He's good.
I saw what he just did.
Yeah, always be close.